All right, I just got back from visiting one of the most popular suburbs in the Cincinnati area, Wyoming, Ohio. If you're wondering where some of the best suburbs in Cincinnati are, because maybe you're planning a move to Cincinnati soon, or maybe you're already in Cincinnati and you're trying to move to a different area, a different suburb around the Cincy area, you might want to keep Wyoming on your radar. It's in a super convenient location. It's ranked highly in many categories that people consider when relocating to a new area. And it's been like this for decades now, and it only seems to be getting better. It's a really clean, quiet, and safe town.
I run a nice, clean town here, and I don't want any trouble.
And I'm gonna go over all of that and much more so you know exactly what it's like living in Wyoming, Ohio. Let's get into it right now. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name is Victor Pham. I'm a realtor here in the Cincinnati metro area where we talk about all things Cincinnati, all things real estate. So if you want to know what it's like to live, work, eat, play, and chill in Cincinnati and the Cincinnati suburbs, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything new that I put out. I'm helping people all the time buy and sell real estate in Cincy and the suburbs around Cincy. So if you have any buying or selling or investing needs in Cincinnati, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure I can help you too. And remember, when it comes to houses in Cincinnati, you can always call Vic. So right off the bat, you need to know that Wyoming is a pretty small town. The population is only a little over 8,000. So if you want a suburb with a really small town feel, Wyoming might be right up your alley. If you prefer bigger towns or you like being in big suburbs that cover a lot more space, then Wyoming might not fit you so well. Wyoming only covers about 2.9 square miles of space. It's a small little pocket, but still in Hamilton County, like Cincinnati. But actually, if you get to the heart of Cincinnati, which is a little further north of downtown, like around the Cincinnati Zoo and the uptown areas like Clifton, it's more like 8 or 9 miles. You can probably get from the heart of Cincy to the heart of Wyoming in about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes, if the traffic is really clear. But nonetheless, it is very close to the city, so I do think that's one of the biggest pros of living in Wyoming, is that you can get to much of the action really fast, like the zoo, the Cincinnati Art Museum down there in Mount Adams, Mount Lookout Square, all of your major sports teams that play downtown, not just south of Wyoming, but also north of Wyoming. There's a ton of stuff to do in the outer suburbs too. So if you're looking for something that is super central in location, like right smack dab in the middle, Wyoming is an excellent choice for that.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Now, Wyoming was originally founded in 1874 with only 600 residents. The last census count, there was about 8,500 residents. So pretty substantial growth over the years. As I was exploring Wyoming, one of the things I immediately noticed is that you can really feel the history of Wyoming, especially when you get out and walk around. I don't know, it just feels like a really big difference when you're driving through a neighborhood versus when you get out of your car and you walk through that neighborhood. It just hits you really different. I could really feel the history. I could really feel that old town, that small town feel that you can tell has just been there for a long time. A lot of the older buildings and homes have been preserved and rejuvenated, but also you see a lot more modernized homes as well. It was really mixed up. A lot of these homes in Wyoming date before 1900, so they were built in the 1800s. So it was a really good mixture, but that small town feel, you really feel it driving through and more so walking through Wyoming. Now, when it comes to the cost of living in Wyoming, the median home value is going to be well over the average for the general Cincinnati area. If we look directly at the data specific to Hamilton County, which is where both Cincinnati and Wyoming are located, the average sold home price last month in September was $230,000. If you're looking to rent in Wyoming, you're probably going to be paying around $1,100 a month. And that is, of course, if you're lucky enough to find a rental in Wyoming. According to niche.com, 90% of the residents own their homes in Wyoming compared to the 10% of renters. So it's a really owner-friendly type of town, and the rentals that do come up, people will rent them out and just stay in them for a really long time and they don't want to leave, so they're hard to get. All right, I want to do a search in the MLS to see if I can find the cheapest home that sold recently in Wyoming. Only 10 homes sold in Wyoming in the last 30 days, and the cheapest sold for $200,000. And that one looks like a 3-bed, 1-bath home on a decent sized lot. Looking for the square footage on this. It looks like the listing agent didn't even put the square footage in the listing, but I can tell by looking at it, it's probably around 1,000-ish, maybe 1,200 square feet. What about the most expensive home to sell in Wyoming in the last month? That one went for $945,000. And that was a 4-bed, 6-bathroom with almost 5,000 square feet. Looks like it had a ton of acreage here. It says almost 2 acres of land to be exact. And the finishes, honestly, don't appear to be super modern. They look like maybe 1990s finishes, if I had to guess. Whoever bought this home was probably intrigued by the old school charm of this house. And this home was built in 1895.
Damn! I'm sorry.
Just take that into account for a second, guys. Almost $1 million, and it was built in 1895. That says a lot about how big the demand is to live in Wyoming. And also, that's a pretty big range of home prices. I mean, $200,000 all the way up to $1 million. That's definitely a good thing if you're a buyer on a moderate budget. I mean, you might not be able to afford a $600,000, $700,000 house, but maybe you're good around $200,000, $300,000, $350,000. You know, it gives the opportunity for many different buyers on many different budgets to have the opportunity to purchase a home there. When it comes to everyday costs like groceries, utilities, internet, stuff like that, Wyoming is going to be pretty similar to the Cincinnati costs. I mean, it's so close to Cincinnati that your stats are going to be pretty much the same. Compared to the national average, it's lower in both grocery costs as well as utilities. Gas prices in Hamilton County right now are hovering right around $3.90. Pretty close to the national average at the time of me making this video. Wyoming is a pretty quiet and safe place to raise a family. You're going to be above average on your crime statistics here as well. Compared to the national crime stats, way down there. I mean, you're talking about a town that only has about 20 police officers, so not much happening there, not a lot of ground to cover really. When you start talking about the schools in Wyoming, the school system is amongst the highest in the entire metro Cincinnati area. Very high proficiency rates and graduation rates that are almost perfect. Wyoming schools also have a pretty competitive sports program as well. Seems like a really cool place to hang out with some really neat mom and pop shops and vintage stores. Very walkable. I was walking down the main roads and even some of the side streets, and there was plenty of sidewalks for pedestrians. Like I said, the town is only a 3-mile radius, so you're probably not going to get lost. Great for walking the dog or walking the kids, going for a jog. Traffic wasn't too heavy. And the speed limit was regulated, even going down the main roads like Wyoming Avenue, which is a good thing. A lot of buyers pay attention to that when they're shopping neighborhoods. Areas where there might be cars flying past you going 50 miles an hour, especially if you have kids, might be intimidating. So Wyoming is pretty walkable, slow pace, laid back kind of place for sure. And you can tell it's been like that for a while. If those are the kind of things that are important to you, Wyoming will probably fit you well. And like I said, it's very close to the city, so you're not traveling too far if you want to get into some of the big events going on in the city. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know, that's kind of tough. Wyoming is pretty high up there. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. It really meets pretty much all the criteria for the ideal suburb. Quiet, peaceful, schools, close to things to do. It's got everything you might need. So I hope that helps you in your search for the right neighborhood or suburb for you. Feel free to reach out to me if you're considering relocating to Cincinnati or considering buying or selling a home in Cincy or the Cincy suburbs. I'd love to help you with that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, what do you think about Wyoming? Could you live here? If you want to know more about some other great Cincinnati suburbs, check out these videos right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, when it comes to houses in Cincinnati, you can always call Vic.